Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another video. Walker Venrick with Point Source Sports, bringing you guys another NBA breakdown here on YouTube. I'm really excited to finally see this slate play out, and I'm glad that we did have the small hiatus that we did. All opinions aside, I just really enjoy the fact that we do have some guys that were questionable that are now playing. So we're going to get into that here in just a moment. But before I do break down the slate for you guys, if you have not already, please do drop a like on this video. We greatly appreciate your support here as always. And if you do have any questions, comments, or concerns for us, please leave them in the comment section below. I will be responding to all comments, and I'm always happy to hear who is your favorite play of this slate. Make sure you pause the video now before you continue and let me know in the comment section who is your number one play, whether it's a big spend up play or whether it's a value play. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below, guys. But we're going to jump right into this one, and the first player we're going to talk about is Damian Lillard because he's out. So now we're actually going to go talk about CJ McCollum, CJ3. So CJ McCollum here, he is an absolute beast without Dame on the floor. Dame did miss a 6-game stretch earlier in the year in which CJ McCollum averaged over 50 fantasy points. That is absurd. He saw nearly 40 minutes during that stretch without Damian Lillard playing. He's Harden-like minutes. So he's playing all the time. He's on the court an absolute ton, and he sees a massive efficiency boost as well as his usage, obviously. I am really, really hoping his ownership falls much lower than it should due to two main factors. Number one, it should be a blowout. The Lakers should close this series out tomorrow, and it was an absolute poop fest there in Game 4 where it was obviously a blowout. But granted that, he still did see 33 minutes. It's a much different story now without Damian Lillard playing. I expect at least 30 minutes from CJ McCollum. I would say bare minimum 29 if the game is just an absolute 35, 40-point blowout in the third quarter. But even in 30 minutes, he should be able to do more than enough to crush an $8,100 price tag without Damian Lillard on the court. So I am really high on CJ McCollum. The other factor that I think could lower his ownership is during that 6-game stretch earlier this year where Damian Lillard was out, Jusuf Nurkic was also out. I'm really hoping that Jusuf Nurkic garners more ownership than he should. He is a very interesting high-leverage GPP play. I would say he's a direct pivot off of McCollum because their prices are so similar. I wouldn't look to load up both. I don't think that's going to play out too well. I'll probably have a couple lineups here and there with both of them, but it's definitely more of one or the other, and that for me, that's just CJ McCollum straight up. But without Nurkic, or I should say with Nurkic, hopefully people are going to say, last time there was neither one of them. Now that Nurk's back, CJ McCollum shouldn't have that same usage. It should actually complement CJ McCollum. It should raise his assist percentage as well. I'm looking for him to be diamond up Nurk when he can. He's probably going to be running the 1, and then they'll stick, Trent at the 2, Melo, and then continue the twin tower routine with Nurk and Whiteside. And before I do switch to player number 2, I am going to go a little bit more in depth because I did lack on the videos over these past few days, obviously with the hiatus. I did want to mention a couple other guys that are going to thrive off of this Damian Lillard injury. And if you don't already know, numero uno after CJ McCollum is Anthony Simons, he's going to see all the backup minutes basically at the 1 and pretty much at the 2 as well. He's going to see at least 25 minutes, I'd say, in this game. Granted, he saw 25 last game in that blowout. I really love Anthony Simons. He had a much higher price tag and was very, very effective when Damian Lillard was out during that 6-game stretch. He is my second favorite Blazer, and then my third favorite Blazer is actually going to be Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, just obviously a veteran in the league. He's going to look like Denver Nuggets, Carmelo Anthony, without Damian Lillard out there at just 5,900. I absolutely love Melo tomorrow. And then my fourth that I do also like is Gary Trent, who had some shining moments. He's had some shining moments randomly this year for sure, but without Damian Lillard on the court, he was also getting a name out there for himself, and he is a young baller. So that is all I really wanted to mention. Sure, I didn't want to go too in-depth with every single player. I didn't want to go dropping a bunch of numbers, trying to keep the video relatively condensed, but I did want to mention a few of the other Portland guys that I like, and I do like them in the order that I mentioned them, just to be clear. Player number 2, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I can't say its name. It's just a mouthful. His name's a mouthful. So SGA has been absolutely flaming the Rockets over the last 3 games. Ray Charles could pretty much see that just by looking at recent game logs. He's shooting over 40% from beyond the arc and nearly 50% from the field in the last 3 games. He's had those 3 consecutive 44-plus fantasy point performances, and he's going to look to continue that hot streak here. in a very competitive game, as it should be again against Houston. It is the closest projected game on the slate, not saying a whole lot because we're talking about Lakers versus a Dameless Portland as well as the Bucks versus the Magic, but it is definitely the closest game total on the slate, and I'm looking for it to stay competitive again. I'm looking for SGA to play another monster minutes game, probably 38 plus, which is so much time on the court for a guy like SGA, who when he's hot can drop massive numbers in just one quarter, one hot streak, and I'm looking for him to do that for us tomorrow. I'm really high on SGA tomorrow. Houston allows the most fantasy points out of any team in the playoffs to opposing shooting guards. They are actually fourth in the entire NBA on the season. Look for him again to see a ton of minutes yet again tomorrow and continue to shoot effectively from the field and drop some monster numbers here on this Houston Rockets team. I'm really high on SGA tomorrow, but again, kind of on the other side of the ball, somebody that I really like now that we do have the news that Russell Westbrook is playing. I can't help myself but talk about an 11.4K James Harden. Now that Russell Westbrook is back, his ownership should be absolutely dwindling. His ownership should be so much lower when we have guys that are safe like Giannis, and we have guys that are smart and just a big advantage of position like a guy like Anthony Davis, even guys like LeBron. But with James Harden sitting here at 11.4K, his ownership should be minuscule as the highest spend up on the slate. I am in love with him in tournaments. He's averaging 1.65 fantasy points per minute on the year with a healthy team. And the Thunder actually allow the second most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards in the NBA out of any team, or not in the NBA, excuse me, out of any teams in the playoffs. They're, I believe, eighth out of everybody in the league, but again, second most in the playoffs. So it's a decent little matchup to take advantage of. And I actually really like the fact that Russell Westbrook's back now, if you can't tell, because I think it's going to knock his ownership drastically. And we've seen him time and time again drop those massive Harden games where there's 70, 85 plus fantasy points. So I'm looking for Harden to come out swinging tomorrow against OKC in a competitive game. I would not be surprised if Westbrook saw a limited workload, and I'm definitely not looking to pay $10K for Russell Westbrook. That is just a reckless GPP play, if anything. Nothing that I'm looking to attack personally. I think that he might go as an unwritten limited workload. He might see 25 to 30 minutes tomorrow. I don't think that they're going to tweet out about it. I don't think that anybody's going to list it. I just think that D'Antoni's going to keep his eye on Russell Westbrook because of how important he is to this team. So hopefully the James Harden show can go on tomorrow with the beard. It should be a really fun game to watch, and I love running him and SGA in the same lineup, as well as being able to fit them in there. It's not necessarily easy, but with the value created from that Portland team and that Damian Lillard injury, it does make it possible, and that is something that I'm really liking for tomorrow. But I do appreciate you guys coming out and watching. If you have not already, definitely go check out in the link or in the description below the link to pointsourcedfs.com. Will be down there. Make sure you guys go check out our site. We are crushing MLB right now. We did well on every slate that has finished so far, I believe. I need to check my FanDuel and make sure, but regardless, it's been a good MLB today, or MLB day today, but we're looking to get back into the NBA tomorrow, so we do hope to see you guys over there at the Point Source site. And if you are a member and not already, make sure you do get in the Discord so we can stay in touch and answer any questions that you might have up until lock. But I will see you guys in my next video soon. Thanks for coming out. Bye.